Hi everyone, I just recorded a video, a Christmas message, but I thought I'd take advantage of this beautiful spot that I'm in and record a couple, just looking to see whether there's sometimes I look around and there's sort of dogs charging at you from anywhere and everywhere. It's a famous dog park around this area, so just got to keep my eyes open. And today I just wanted to, in this video, I just wanted to discuss 7 things that may trigger fibromyalgia. So, everyone that's aware of fibromyalgia, if you have fibromyalgia and you have done your own research, you know quite a bit about the condition and the standard kind of symptoms that you may have and the standard kind of things that usually trigger fibromyalgia. But there are a few things that I've come up with, having had this chronic pain journey and fibro journey for quite some time now, almost 14-15 years. If you're unaware and you haven't seen any of my other videos, has been that long for me. And there are certain things that trigger. Let me just swap my hands over here because I think this is a better angle. That's better. So there are 7 things that are, not often spoken about, but do kind of affect how acute your symptoms are. And the number one thing that people don't usually think about is clothing, and more specifically, the wrong type of clothing. Now, when I say clothing, I mean, people that are fresh to fibromyalgia and fresh to chronic pain don't really sort of pick up on this, but people that have had fibromyalgia and chronic pain for a very long time, like myself, over time you do notice that certain fabrics don't gel with you anymore. So I recently, it's interesting because I actually came across a video, I don't exactly, whether it was some sort of science professor, I don't know who the publisher was, but they were discussing how different sort of fabrics, yes, that's right, my brother had sent me a link, and I've still got it somewhere. If I can find it, I will I will copy it to the body of the box below the video. And so what they were discussing was that different fabrics have different frequencies, and your body interacts with those frequencies very differently depending on what the fabric is. So the highest frequency of fabric, or the highest vibrational frequency when you talk about fabrics, is actually linen. And I have experienced that. I know that when I am wearing linen clothing, 100% linen clothing, I feel very comfortable. It does regulate your body temperature very, very well. And just overall, it's just, especially with the colors, whites, creams, really light blues, soft pinks. I think that colors come into it as well. But when you do have fibromyalgia or chronic pain, you are very extremely, and I mean extremely sensitive to things such as that. And when I talk about fabrics as well, I'm talking about also the whether the clothing that you are wearing is actually a comfortable cut. Has it got really uncomfortable sort of elastics around the waist? Are you wearing very fitted clothing that you didn't have a problem sort of 10 years ago? Or before you got fibromyalgia and chronic pain, but now all of a sudden things are feeling really uncomfortable. And I went through a period where I had to overhaul my whole wardrobe, and I had to be realistic about what was comfortable, what wasn't, what fabrics were able to breathe, what fabrics, what I felt good in, really, and it goes far beyond just kind of what it looks like. Obviously, with linen, you're kind of veering to a more natural sort of organic look, and I'm kind of all about that vibe, as I get older anyway. But in my 20s and 30s, I would wear a lot of polyester, a lot of tight-fitted clothing, sort of even corsets and tight pants and this and that, and things that were very, very figure-hugging. And as I've gotten older, I think generally as you get older, you get a little bit more realistic, and you want to feel good in what you're wearing, and you're not going to, how do I describe it? You're not going to be uncomfortable just for the sake of fashion. And I think that having fibromyalgia and chronic pain, that is a lot more, that's something that you really think about a lot more often. And now when I go shopping, yes, I do still look for things that are flattering, that are beautiful, that bring me joy. But I am actually, oh, there I go. I'm losing a piece of paper. Let me grab it before it fucks off completely. Sorry about that. So, now when I go shopping, I'm really vigilant as to, looking at the tag and seeing, is it cotton? Is it linen? Is it maybe a composition of both? And unless it's like a fitted jacket or tailored pants, winter pants, especially in summer, I really don't want anything other than sort of cotton and linen on my body. Even this, it's not a very expensive kind of white top. I think it was from like Target or Kmart or whatever. I find that, white t-shirts, I love white. It's my favorite color. I love wearing it. It's very comfortable, and it also doesn't. I notice that when I wear black, especially, sometimes I wear a lot of black. Sort of with pants and skirts, but tops I like wearing white because it just makes my face look a lot fresher. It emphasizes the whites in my eyes, and I've also got that kind of skin tone that works with white. But I don't wear certain colors anymore. Even colors are really important for me now. So that's, and also another thing that I wanted to mention with uncomfortable clothing is uncomfortable shoes. How many times have you bought a pair of shoes that you really, really loved just because you thought, they look great on, but they were just very, very uncomfortable, and you wear them, and after half an hour you just want to rip them off, and you're just not having a great time. You go out, initially you look fantastic, and then 1 hour into the evening you're suffering because and I'm not prepared to for long-term back pain and that sort of thing. I can't do that anymore. And if I want some height now, I will wear platform shoes. So whether that's platform sneakers or platform wedges, I have found very stylish and fashionable ways to get around that. And there's so many things out there that you can buy these days that you can, you can still look stylish and very put together, and for shoes to still be comfortable. And it doesn't mean that I don't wear heels. It's just that I wear a heel height that is a lot more sensible. And that really does wonders. I find now that most of the things in my wardrobe don't cling to my body. Middle of summer, if I'm wearing a polyester top and it's just, it's not a nice cut on me, I just want to rip it off. And when I was younger, I could probably put up with stuff like that. But being the age that I am and dealing with the fibro symptoms that I am dealing with now, there's these like two dogs and they're just like totally charging at me. I just hope they're nice. Oh dear. God, he's not very nice. He's barking at me. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is alcohol and cigarettes. Now, I've the minute I was the type of person that completely cut myself off from, have I ever socially smoked? Yeah, I have. There have been times when I have, especially in Greece, whenever I'm in Greece, I hate to admit this because, depending on who's going to watch my video, but it's all about being authentic and real, right? So I have socially smoked in the past. I don't have an addictive personality, so I have never sort of, it has never become a long-term habit for me, but I have smoked. But ever since I've gotten, sort of chronic pain and fibromyalgia-like symptoms, I've noticed that I remember a few years ago when I was offered a cigarette, I think on a New Year's Eve from a friend or something, and I had a cigarette and I felt absolutely disgusting after it. And it's not just the normal kind of disgusting where you haven't had a smoke in like 5 years and then you have one and you feel gross like everybody does, but it actually, I don't know what it did, but it triggered my inflammatory response straight away. I actually got a very swollen sort of throat glands straight away, and my ears kind of blocked up. So obviously, and I have been told by a alternative health professional that I my DNA or you know, something to that effect. I can't actually digest alcohol. So I've completely gone off it, and I refuse to have any sort of alcohol. But that is something that does trigger you quite a bit as well if you have fibro or chronic pain. Now the next one is blue light exposure, and that goes hand in hand with, you know, a large percentage or too much screen time. So whether you're on your phone, whether you're on your laptop working, you know, I do these glasses. I don't know if you can see the blue sort of tint in the glass, but when I did order these prescription glasses, I did put like a blue light filter on them. So now you can actually get glasses with a filter, or you can actually get, even if you don't wear prescription glasses, you can get glasses just for the mere fact of having the blue light protection. And I think that's a really good idea. You know, sometimes you can't get away with not having a lot of screen time. A lot of people work from home now, and regardless of whether you're in the office or at home, there's a lot of quite a few hours within the day that you need to be on your phone for various reasons, or on a laptop. So I think it is really important to wear protective glasses. So that's blue light exposure. Now the next thing is, so we've mentioned 3 things. So next page, God, this wind is really annoying me. Poor drinking water quality. Now, I don't know whether anybody sort of remembers, there was a report that came out in Sydney. They were talking about the quality of Sydney water, about how there was like some sort of like poisoning or something that was in the water that could actually affect your health quite some time ago. I don't know what that was about exactly. I can't remember. But I think that assessing your drinking water at home is really, really important. Now, I've just got a standard Brita filter, which, you know, is great, you know, in comparison to the shitty tap water that we Sydney-siders get. But I think even better than that, there are so many other filtration systems that are really, really good at the moment. I haven't, I'm looking at one called, is it Zazen? Zazen. I can't remember. I was just about to order it before, sort of a few months ago, but it is quite pricey. So I'm just kind of trying to get my, you know, my business a little bit more, I just need to make a little bit more money, because it's like $1,000 plus, and I just didn't want to spend that kind of money just before Christmas on a water filtration system. But it is quite a good one, I've heard. I may do another video. If I do purchase that eventually, I might do a assembly video, just kind of unboxing an assembly. So that's water. Please look into that. If you can't afford anything elaborate and expensive, please just get a Brita water filter. You can get sort of, you know, you change your filters every month or so. I think that that's a really good thing to do. And another one that is something that people don't really think about, but you've got to sort of think about sort of fibro symptoms a little bit more broad-mindedly, is hanging out with very toxic people. Now, you know, we sometimes call them, I sometimes call them energy vampires, and anyone that has had fibro specifically, or any sort of chronic pain symptoms, knows that it wreaks havoc on your nervous system. And why is that? You could be a viral infection like I had, my EBV / glandular fever virus that, you know, ended up giving me chronic sort of pain symptoms and fibromyalgia-like symptoms. It could be whether you might have had a very sort of significant life event that has caused you to end up with fibromyalgia. And how do I describe this? So basically your nervous system is shot. It's basically the circuit has blown and your nervous system is exhausted. So hanging around with people that are forever bitching about people, that are forever gossiping about people, that are forever in a victim mentality, that are forever in a what's it called? Just a state of mind where they're always kind of negative about their situation. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, everyone has bad days and everyone has, you know, moments in their life where they would rather just kind of crawl up in a fetal position and have a pity party for one. I've done that plenty of times. But, you know, there are people around you. If you think about it, there's always somebody in your life that no matter how much you try to help them, no matter how great their life is, from an outsider's perspective, you know, they will always find the negative in things. They will always find things that are wrong with their life, you know, things that, and you give them tips on how to, you know, change your life, how to think differently, how to change their mindset, but they are just so gung-ho about and sort of attached to their victim story that, you know, you end up figuring out that, you know, it doesn't matter how much help you give them, they're not going to change. And I think that, you know, when you are experiencing fibromyalgia-like symptoms, whether you've got POTS, whether you've got chronic pain, chronic fatigue syndrome as well, which is a byproduct of, you know, a lot of viral infections or significant life events that were quite negative, you know, stay away from people that get you down. Stay away from people that, you know, you feel depleted the minute you sort of pull away from them or you go home. It's just not worth it. And when you do have fibromyalgia or chronic pain, chronic fatigue, you need to be selfish with your time. You need to make sure that you're putting yourself first. And being around these types of people is just not going to get you anywhere positive. It really isn't. And sometimes, you know, a large part of the type of person that has fibromyalgia is that you feel guilty for not being there for people. But sometimes you just have to pull yourself away and look out for number one, which really is you, you know. If you're not filling your cup, if you're not doing things that make you hopeful and that bring you joy and all those kinds of good things, then you can't really be there for anyone else anyways. And you need to create distance with people that are not that are not working on themselves as well. People need to take accountability of their own behavior, of their own life choices, and, you know, you can't fix anyone or anything. You know, you can only work on yourself, and you can only be an example for everybody else. And you need to make sure that you remember that, you know, people with fibromyalgia that you know, are often people that are type A personalities, as I've mentioned in other videos. They're often empathetic, very empathic people. Is it empathetic or empathic? I don't know. I've used both words. I don't know which is right and which is wrong. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's a really big one, and it probably should have been on the top of the list. But I think energy vampires, mate, the minute you sniff them out, just stay away from them. Seriously, it's not worth it. And another important one actually is toxic overload. Now, where could you actually, what contributors of toxicity could I be discussing? Now, whether it's household cleaners, whether it's the makeup that you're using, I'll talk about the makeup that I use in another video, and I'm really happy with the product and the brand, but that's you know, beside the point. Yeah, look, and think about the things that you know, things that are closest to your body, and that also, whether it's your makeup is a really important one, as I said before, and what did we say? Household cleaners, makeup, you know, body washes, shampoos, that sort of thing. When I started, when I really had some serious, more acute symptoms related to fibromyalgia and chronic pain, I'm not talking about throw out all your makeup and go spend $1,000 on all this organic shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying start with your foundation, for example, because that's the thing that you use the most, probably, whether it's concealer or, you know, foundation. I think those two are the biggest two kind of makeup products in your makeup case that you probably should assess, you know, whether you should be using that product if it's not organic. Now, I will mention the brand that I use. It's Inika, Inika. It's an Australian brand, and I use both their concealer and their foundation, and I find it to be really beautiful. It's if I revert back to using a foundation that just comes from the sort of chemist or whatever, or Priceline, if I go back to using one of those kind of brands, the non-organic sort of brands, I break out straight away. So my skin is really loving Inika product. And I think that for women, it's a really important, you really need to go through your makeup bag and also the other sort of personal hygiene products that you use, and make sure that you're choosing more organic, more clean products, you know. Even like the cleaner that you use on your floor, even the cleaners. There are so many recipes, and I will go into all of this as well next year. I would really like to get into, you know, sort of homemade DIY recipes for, you know, sort of like baking soda and vinegar and all that kind of stuff. So many things that are probably found in everybody's home that can be used to clean windows and surfaces quite well, and also do not overload your body with toxicity. You know, what you're breathing in over a day, like using candles, you know, most candles are really, really toxic as well. And, you know, so many people, I like candles as well. You know, I'm an ambiance kind of person, but I veer away from using most candles because of the toxicity levels in candles as well. So there are so many things in your home that could be contributing to how you're feeling and the severity of your symptoms as well. So I think that's really important. And if you are early on in your fibro and chronic pain, chronic fatigue sort of journey, you need to really look at all that stuff, because you're in contact with all of that stuff on a daily basis. You know, you're in your home, you're walking around, you're inhaling different odors, different chemicals and that sort of thing, and the things that you put on your body are really, really important. So you need to really assess that. I highlight that once again. Look into all of that stuff, please. Now, the last one, I think there's 7. I think I've discussed 6 so far. Now, the last one is late nights. Now, I'm a Leo, right? So before I got my sort of chronic fatigue sort of symptoms and that sort of thing, I loved going out. I loved having a drink or 2 or 3. I like dressing up and dancing the night away and all that sort of thing. And but now that I have got fibromyalgia-like symptoms, and you know, I have had chronic fatigue for quite some time, I know that late nights is not my best friend. So why are late nights something that triggers fibro symptoms? It's because you're fucking around with your circadian rhythm. And what's a circadian rhythm? It's your natural flow of, you know, your body acknowledging when you should be up and when you should be asleep. And, you know, confusing it, you know, with really, really late nights, going to bed at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, or even worse, I don't know, and not sort of having a consistent sleeping pattern really fucks around with your nervous system and your circadian rhythm. I find it hard to say that word sometimes. So and ever since I have, you know, I know that now that I do, I think that the 2 most important things that kind of, my not getting too much social media bombardment, so not being on social media too much and making sure that I have a consistent bedtime is really, really important. And that's kind of encouraged me to, my symptoms are kind of pacified, you know, if I consistently get to bed at a similar time every night, and if I stay away from really, really late nights. And you know, at my age, 45, who wants to be out till 2, 3 in the morning? I mean, you know, once 9, 10 o'clock hits, I'm kind of sleepy anyway. So they're the 7 things that some people don't really think about, you know, 7 things that trigger fibromyalgia. I hope that I've given you some valuable information and that you've taken some, you know, it's kind of got your kind of mind working. And but yeah, definitely I'm going to highlight this again. I'm telling you, and this made a huge difference with me, you know, and sometimes my mum uses really toxic stuff, you know, to clean the floor and whatever, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I kind of scream at her. Poor thing, I shouldn't do that really. But there have been times where she's kind of filled the mop bucket and just chucked in all this kind of like really toxic heavy cleaners, and I'll throw away the whole sort of bucket of water, and I'll just get my what is it, that Dr. Bronner's, is it Dr. Bronner, I can't remember the name of it, Dr. Bronner's Bronner's all-purpose kind of cleaner. It's like a citrus smelling, really beautiful cleaner, and I use it for everything, whether it's flooring, bathroom surfaces, and it's not toxic at all. You can even use it to wash your hair. Yeah, I'm actually inspired to do a household cleaning products that are not toxic kind of video, so I will do that. So I'm going to leave that here for now, because the video is ended up being 25 minutes, but I hope that I've provided some valuable information. I'll talk to you soon. I'm actually inspired to do even a third video today while I'm at the park. So yeah, I'll cut this one off, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.